Shalom everyone, Jonathan Bernis here with our Israel update. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm so happy to be back with you again. This has been a really difficult time for Israel and of course the Palestinian people that are suffering terribly. We're entering into the 8th month now of Israel's war against Hamas. Now, let me just make it clear. This is not a war against the Palestinians. This is a war against Hamas. After October 7th, it became very clear that Israel had no choice but to eradicate this horrific terrorist organization that has been committed to driving Israel into the sea. They don't believe in a two-state solution. They believe in a one-state solution, and that solution is a Israel without the Jewish people, a Palestine without the people of Israel. And so after this terrible slaughter, this horrendous genocide against the Jewish people, Israel's been forced over the last more than 7 months now to seek to destroy Hamas. And we knew that this was going to be a long war. World sentiment continues to grow against Israel, calling this war an effort to destroy the Palestinians, a genocide. Nothing could be further from the truth. There's 5 things that I want to ask you to pray about during this horrible war. The first is that many that are fighting in the Israeli army are actually Messianic Jews. There's quite a large Messianic Jewish community. I'm talking about Jews who believe in Jesus. They're our brothers and sisters in the faith, and they've been suffering terribly. We've lost a number of young men in the last 7 months, and families are grieving terribly. I received an email today from a dear friend of mine who I've known for over 30 years, almost 40 years, Avi Mizrahi, and he was just sharing his pain. He said just 2 weeks ago we were celebrating Israel's Independence Day, but even as we celebrated, we mourned. We during this time of joy experienced great grief in our daily lives as we try to move forward but remain under attack by those who wish to destroy us. Understand that this is not only a fight against Hamas, this is also a fight against Hezbollah in the north, and more missiles now are raining down upon Israel from the northern territories. So they're split right now. You have Hezbollah in the north, the fight with Hamas in the south, in Gaza, and then now you have Iran also recently attacking Israel with missiles for the first time in Israel's history. So people are very distraught. People are feeling a sense of hopelessness, and somewhere around 500,000 Israelis have actually left the country. So the first thing I want to ask you to pray for are Jewish believers, Messianic Jews in the land of Israel. This is the spiritual backbone of the country, and we need to be praying for our brothers and sisters in the faith that are suffering so terribly right now. We've lost some young men that have perished in this war, and their families are grieving terribly. So I want to ask you to stand with the household of faith. That's the first one. The second prayer request is to pray for the displaced Jewish community, over 60,000 that have had to leave their homes in the north because of the onslaught of missiles coming in from Lebanon, from Hamas, and they've been displaced. And so many families now are separated, they're displaced, and they need our prayers. So number 1, praying for Jewish believers, Messianic Jews in the land. 2, families that have been displaced. 3, families that have lost a husband, lost a father, lost a mother, a brother, a sister. They're suffering terribly. The fourth one is to pray for Palestinians, innocent Palestinians who have been suffering terribly through this war. This is not a war against Palestinians or Palestine. This is a war against Hamas. They must be eradicated. Maybe you've seen a blog on social media called All Eyes on Rafah. This is where the fighting is going on right now in the southern part of Gaza. And this, sadly, has been promoting anti-Semitism, calling this war a genocide against the Palestinians. That's not the case at all. If you look at the facts, Israel works very hard to try to avoid civilian casualties, but sadly, many civilians are caught in the crossfire, especially when you understand that Hamas terrorists actually use Palestinians as human shields. They're also setting up their missile sites in schools and in mosques, and they want to see a growing number of fatalities from civilians. And this is a terrible challenge for Israel. And sadly, many civilians, including children, have died. And we need to pray for the Palestinians. They're caught in this crossfire. They don't have any exit into Egypt. The Arab countries are not allowing them to find refuge, and so they're fleeing where they can. Over 1 million now have been displaced from Rafah, and they're just trying to survive. So we have a great heart for innocent Palestinian victims who are suffering terribly, not because of Israel, but because of Hamas. And then finally, we need to be praying against anti-Semitism. Over these last 7 months, going into 8 months, and it's going to take a lot longer to finish the job, the world has turned against Israel. The UN continues to demand that Israel stops their attack against Hamas, demanding ceasefires. Israel has to complete the job. And so the UN continually sanctions Israel. The world as a whole has turned against Israel. And anti-Semitism is at an all-time high since World War II. You're seeing this in just about every country, including the United States and in Europe. And so as believers, we need to intercede on behalf of the Jewish people around the world that are becoming victims of increased anti-Semitism. So I want to ask you to pray for those things. The Bible talks about praying for the peace of Jerusalem. What that means is that we're to pray for God's plan for Israel and the Jewish people to be fulfilled. Ultimately, that means for them to come into a relationship with their Messiah, but also to protect them, to watch over them. He who keeps Israel never slumbers nor sleeps, but he's calling upon us, his people, to pray and intercede, to stand in the gap during this terrible time in Israel's history and for Jewish people around the world. I want to thank you for your prayers, for your support of this ministry. We're so grateful. It means the world, and I look forward to updating you more in the future. God bless you.